Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday, someday. There will come a payday, hallelujah, what a payday. There will come a payday someday. When I lay
Were you
my
a Righteous
work
Gemstones
by, I'm a
fan,
hole
Stan the
in
fan?
the sky.
No?
There will come a payday
Oh, it's a
someday.
perfect.
I know.
It is a flawless show. Oh yeah,
His name is on that, right? The guy from Eastbound and Down.
Danny McBride. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, of course. And the great Walton Goggins playing Uncle Baby Billy, singing about that payday, which of course comes for Samuel Basallo today.
Oh, I thought it was for you and me.
I wish that was the case, Stan. We'll take $67.
Yep.
We'll take that. Good morning. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Stan the Fan Charles is here, the Chief Grand Poobah at Press Box. And yeah, we got a busy show on tap. We got a lot to do. Nate George is going to join us from the IronBirds later on. Navy coach Brian Newberry. We'll check in with Carl Davis, now the Commanders, former Raven. Lot to do, but
Newberry. This Coach Newberry.
yes.
Doesn't like me.
Well, I don't think this one's personal. I think this one's more of a scheduling
okay.
issue than it is a personal
Falling
conflict.
back on that.
I think that, well, no. I mean, we know some issues, they are very deep. They're deeply personal.
Yeah.
Deeply. Although we overcame the Mike Tirico issue.
Yeah.
We're good now.
I was thinking about that yesterday. And that's ironic because I was thinking about that, and then Griffin told me about Newberry and
Yeah.
had to record it. Did we try and explain?
I attempted a little bit, attempted to, and he was, he's sort of,
Okay, yeah, okay.
right? Like, all right, guys, sure. Can we move on? No. That was not. It's not personal, but we did a chat with Brian Newberry a little bit earlier on, but we will get you that conversation.
And are we going to work on getting Nate George an extension?
I mean,
Sign him right here
this
on
is
the
the
air.
moment,
Yeah,
right?
this is
the moment.
Extend everybody.
Hey, to me, Stan, I talked about it with Drew Forrester a little bit earlier this morning. This is one of those rare times where there's nothing about this today that there's no dissenting opinion. Is it possible that Samuel Basallo isn't a very good baseball player and ultimately it wasn't worth doing this? Yes, it's possible, but it's $67 million.
Yeah.
Like that's a risk you take 10 times out. This is like the Corbin Burns thing where, yes, you had to pay real baseball players to get Corbin Burns, but you do it 10 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something you do 10 times out of 10. There is no dissenting opinion to me that can be offered about giving Samuel Basallo an extension. This is a little bit wonky. Andy Koska says it's the record pre-arbitration deal for a catcher.
Why is that wonky?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, calling Samuel Basallo a catcher. We don't.
I mean, he caught last night, didn't he?
He did, and he's going to catch for a little while here because Adley Rutschman is sidelined. Is he actually a catcher? No one has any idea. So I'm not. That part of it doesn't really stand out for me. What is this? Oh, I don't care about that. I don't care about
It's
that.
funny.
This is just a.
It's called comedy.
Thank you. This is just a good move. That's it. This is the type of thing that you want to see baseball teams do. This is the time you have to do it. There are people that will follow up and say, well, what about Gunnar Henderson? Well, I don't know how to say this. That's past.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in play. I mean, at a larger number, it might be in play. At an overwhelming number, it could be in play. But you can't do – this is when you have to do these types of things. And it's a very good thing that the Orioles are jumping into these waters moving forward. It's a sign of what might be for this organization in the coming years.
I think two things can't be lost here. It comes, about 1 week after they announced the ticket prices are going up next year. That's number one. And number two, it's the first realistic player they've had the opportunity to do this with under David Rubenstein's ownership. This is not solely Mike Elias saying, hey, I think it's time to extend somebody.
Right.
I think Mike Elias would have liked to have extended Adley or Gunnar under John Angelos, but John Angelos didn't have the keys to the palace and wasn't extending anybody. This is a sign that while the economics of being an Orioles fan may be changing in front of our very eyes, and somewhat significantly, it does look like this group is not playing wiffle ball.
Sure.
Yes. They're going to start to do some of the right things.
And look, this isn't giving, $300 million to a baseball player, but does it mean that there would be a player that they think is worthy? They weren't going to give $300 million to Samuel Basallo. That's not the way that this works.
Right.
That's the reason why you do it now, is because he doesn't have that value yet, and you're
just
putting
like
it.
the Red Sox giving Roman
Anthony, exactly right. It's exactly the way that it works. This is how you play the game. There are other factors that are involved here. Samuel Basallo isn't rep by Scott Boras. I hate that that's the way that this works.
That's a huge factor.
Correct.
He has Westberg, Holiday, and Mr.
Gunnar Henderson. Yep.
Yeah.
These are all extraordinarily relevant parts of the conversation of, well, why haven't they done this with previous guys? I think that, yes, to your point, some of it had to do with the fact that John Angelos didn't have the ability to spend that money, or even if he did, some of those guys were not going to be on the table to do team-friendly extensions.
Yep.
Scott Boras was never going to allow his clients to do that.
Yep.
So even when David Rubenstein took over last year, it's totally possible that Mike Elias approached Jackson Holiday about it and said, hey, I've been told we can spend some money, and the Boras camp just said, keep walking, man. We don't.
In 6 years.
Right, we don't do this. You know that. So this is, to me, the best moment so far of the David Rubenstein regime. It's the one that gets your juices flowing a little bit to what could be next.
What about the bobblehead?
Right, I understand. Everybody loved the bobblehead and Mr. Splash and the whole thing. If the willingness to spend money versus not doing it last offseason is something that we will never understand. I will go to my deathbed not understanding what happened last offseason. It will be the most confusing thing. A lot of it we didn't like over the years, but we understood over the years why things happened. I will never in my life understand what the thought process was last offseason. I'll never get it. You can't make it make sense to me.
I think the thought process didn't include the cautionary situation with Grayson Rodriguez. In other words, in fairness, I don't think they thought that this was going to be the type of thing that I think they knew when they traded for Burns, that Bradish was a maybe in last year. And they got 12 starts out of him or 14 starts last year, something like that. Not even that many.
No, it was a handful. Yeah, it was a handful.
After that's right, he missed a bunch of time early. But with Grayson Rodriguez, I think they felt, well, we've got Kramer, we've got Grayson, we'll get Morton and Sagano and Povich will win 10 games. I think they didn't know Albert Suarez. Not that they could have counted on him to be something fantastic, but I don't think they thought he would miss the entire season either.
Look, there's no doubt the injuries. It just that being too bullish about your own or having too much hubris about what you have internally still kind of didn't make that. You knew you needed to sign someone, so you signed two pitchers, but you purposely went on the cheapest end of signing pitchers in order to do it, and that's the part that I'll never understand why it wasn't somewhere in between these two things.
Yeah.
Even if you thought you could live at the top end of the rotation, the Nick Pavettas of the world, that type, I'll never understand why you.
Pavetta was one of the guys. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought Buehler on a
Yeah,
1
of
or
course,
2 year
right.
deal. I didn't think he'd get $21 million a year, and he got it for 1 year.
Yep.
And the Red Sox are now admitting.
But that's the area that I will never understand why the in between these two things, right, wasn't the world where they were swimming to say we have to do this. That said, there's nothing you can do about it now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. If you're still in the camp where you're not sure if Mike Elias is going to be the GM, I think that every day that goes by that they're conducting business as usual.
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be here.
It makes you believe that Mike Elias is going to continue to be here, and if he's going to continue to be here, then you want to see him. Yeah. I think a lot of fans have this feeling that Mike Elias's hubris is part of this issue, that he doesn't want to spend big money because he wants his system to be what works.
Right.
And I have no proof of that. I've had people float that out to me within baseball, that there is something to be said for that. And
I think long term his system makes a lot of sense at developing the pipeline. So when you lose a Manny Machado, you start to have replacements, ready at the ready.
Not with pitching,
but you have to. Yeah. You can't just say, we'll just keep developing these hitters and we'll be able to spin them for pitchers, or we'll just go out and buy. You got to be incredibly smart when it comes to pitching, and you can't go into a season with 6 or 7 starting options. You need 10 or 11 options because of the nature injuries.
Does doing this with Samuel Basallo make you question whether or not Kobe Mayo is a trade chip this offseason to land pitching?
My biggest fear about that is if I got to be objective, and I was a huge Mayo booster for 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen enough of what I thought we would be seeing that I'm giving up a top-end pitcher for Kobe Mayo.
If the point is that you don't know what Kobe Mayo's trade value is, I think that's a very fair.
Yeah,
and someone might say you're not getting a top-end pitcher for Kobe Mayo. You're getting a qualified pitcher for Kobe Mayo, because the Orioles are kind of recognizing that Kobe Mayo might be a little blocked here, that there just might not be the same path for him moving forward.
I think the much more interesting discussion, and I can't believe I didn't bring it in today. I did a deep dive at Adley Rutschman from last year around June 20th or something like that, when he was hitting 3-0. There's a date he was hitting 305. He had a 5-hit game that raised his average back to 305. So I did the numbers from that date, the next day, through the end of last year.
Okay.
Then I added all of this year. It's 162 games, and it's 14 homers, 55 RBIs, a 210 batting average, about a 290 on-base percentage.
It's abysmal.
It's absolutely, it's alarming.
Yes,
is what it is. And I wonder if there's a team out there, say like the San Francisco Giants, where Buster Posey knows the importance of a catcher, that they see something different. I don't see all this hard hit contact. Luke and I talked about
earlier in the year. There was a fair amount of hard hit contact. In the first month or two of the season, there was a fair amount.
First couple weeks, like he hit a home run opening day. He has not been the player that Mike Elias thought he was.
Oh, there's no question that he's not been that guy.
It's now 162 games.
And I think the question becomes, are you willing to cut bait? Part of that is, do you believe that Samuel Basallo is a catcher? Yeah. And I have not. I don't know.
I think what I'm fascinated by, and I never wish any player injury.
Mm-hmm.
I think the injury to Rutschman is fortuitous for the ball club
To get
in
a
the
better
sense
feel of
to get. I don't think he'll catch. How many games do we have left? 40.
yeah, about that. Hang on.
It might even be 35.
It is. They've played 59 and 68 equals what? 59 plus 68 is 59, 127. 127. So they have 35, yeah.
35 games left. I think he'll catch 25 games, probably.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I think with your major league eyes on him, and with Robinson Chirino working with him, and I think you get a glimpse of what he can be enough that if the idea was how do you make this team better, and Rutschman still has enough value to get you a Sandy Alcantara or a Robbie Ray, somebody that's a meaningful starting pitcher where it works for both parties. I think that would be the much more interesting avenue, because with Mayo, you'd really be selling on the cheap to me.
Well, I mean, you'd have to tell me which one you think is selling on the cheaper. I still think that Adley Rutschman at this point, you're selling at pennies on the dollar. I find it hard-pressed to believe that he can get you an Alcantara, but I get it, the argument that another team believes, hey, it's all there. We know what he's capable of. Maybe, right? It's just been so bad
Maybe
for
some
so
of these
long.
other teams will see that hard contact that I haven't seen.
And again, it comes back to what do you see from Samuel Basallo as a catcher over the course of the next month? Because to this moment, the general consensus is Samuel Basallo is not a catcher. That's the general consensus of the talent people that you talk to throughout baseball. But
everybody mentions how strong his throwing arm.
There's that, no doubt. In part because he's
first
just
base. You don't need a strong throwing.
You don't need a strong throwing arm.
At
There's
DH,
no doubt.
you don't need a
You
strong
need
throw.
but you need his bat, and his bat appears to be very legitimate and very real, and that's what makes this an exciting moment. It's an exciting moment for today. It allows us to not have to talk about the fact that Brandon Young got his brains beat in last night, which is a bummer.
Pitching in the 6th inning,
God bless. Did we get an update? I didn't even pay attention afterwards. What's the update on?
He's got a hamstring.
Is that what it was?
He tried. What happened was he was slow getting off the mound to a bouncer that went deep to Mayo.
Okay.
And he was slow getting off the mound. At the last instant, he accelerated, and I think that's where he did it.
Okay. Well,
he's going on the IL.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
It's what it is. Kyle Bradish is back next week, so it kind of becomes, I guess, fortuitous in that way that Kyle Bradish will probably slide into that spot. We'll start 5 days from now. They do not have an off day this week, so
nope.
Yeah,
got 8 straight games.
Correct. Presumably,
with the Astros.
Presumably, you can count on Kyle Bradish starting on the 26th. That's just appears.
Which day would that be? Thursday. Tuesday.
Because they had said between the 20. Because he started on
I asked
Wednesday.
because I can be there Tuesday night.
Oh,
so
you wanted to make sure you lined it up
I
for
talked to Katie
Bradish's start.
Griggs,
That's smart. Smart stuff, Stan. Not a great night other than Dylan Beavers. That was a fun moment, obviously. His first at-bat at home. Cranks the home run. That was fun. That was pleasant. Take all that. But, yeah, other than that, not a pleasant night at the ballpark, despite the fact that they did the big push to try to get people out for Basallo and Beavers. But hopefully tonight they'll be able to, I guess they'll do a press conference with Samuel Basallo before the game. As there you see Dylan Beavers' home run last night, courtesy of Fox. I'll guess they'll do a press conference and, probably note something on the board during the course of the game for the crowd that's there tonight about Samuel Basallo's extension, and that'll create a good moment. And they got some great giveaways this weekend with the cowboy hat and the Jim Palmer replica jerseys. So should be some good crowds there this weekend.
Weather's going to be absolutely perfect today.
Excellent. Love everything about that. Yes, last night kind of dampens a little bit of the excitement about the fact that they had been playing well for the week leading up. But I think that Samuel Basallo news kind of cancels that out. And I don't think anybody's too down going into tonight. And there should be a great atmosphere at the ballpark. Today's show is brought to you by, well, it's brought to you by the Sam the Fan Variety Hour, which I assume will be back on Monday.
Be back on Monday with Mr. Grimsley and Mr. Luke Jackson.
You got a time in mind for that?
You know, I'm thinking the Orioles are playing that night at 6:35, so we've been doing them at 5. I'm going to see if we can do this one at like 4.
Okay, very good. Stan the Fan, Ross
Brought to
Grimsley,
you by the Costas Inn.
and the all-new Costas Inn.
With 2 great locations.
That's right. Now open in Timonium. Love the Costas Inn. It's everything you love about the OG Costas Inn except for steamed crabs. Got to go to the original on North Point Boulevard in order to get steamed crabs, but everything else on the menu, I tell you all the time about the crab dip jalapeno poppers. It's outrageous how good those are. One of my favorite cream of crab soups in the entire area. Love the Costas Inn. Check out the all-new one in Timonium.
By the way, truth in advertising.
Yes.
The one dish that I absolutely love at the old Costas Inn, and I'm looking at the menu, and it's the same menu. They don't have the pork chops.
No?
No, they don't have the pork chops.
They're coming. That's what I would say. They're coming. Yeah, you get on that.
Nick was busy being on vacation
Yeah,
last
right.
week. He didn't get the memo that they have 2
It's
restaurants.
time. Yeah, it's
now.
time. We need to make that happen. All right. Joining us now here on GCR, it's time for us to make a trip to Aberdeen to catch up with a member of the IronBirds. And this guy, what an unbelievable season this guy has put together in his first season in pro ball. He recently got called up to Aberdeen after he was tearing the cover off the ball at Delmarva. How about these slash lines, Stan the Fan? 337, 416, 903 OPS. That'll play. That'll work. He is Nate George, and he is with us this morning here on GCR. Nate, it's Glenn and Stan here in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Looking forward to it.
Hey, Nate, I mean, obviously you know what you're capable of. The rest of us were the ones that didn't because, to be fair, we don't always pay attention to the guys that get picked in the 16th round. But was there something that you did this offseason or after getting drafted that you can maybe attribute at all to this outstanding season that you've been having at the pro level?
I've always kind of been one of those guys that's kind of been under the radar. So especially after getting drafted so late, you know, obviously I had expectations to go higher, but, you know, it's not how it's always going to work out. It's not always going to play how you want it. So going into the offseason with a chip on my shoulder, knowing that when I show up in Florida for spring training that I have something to prove. So ultimately taking pride in my work and just being consistent every day, knowing that I got something to prove when I go out for the season.
Man, it's working.
Nate, I'm just looking at your numbers and extraordinary, first season. Which position do you like to play best of all, and do you think you're best at in the outfield?
I like center field. I pretty much played that all through high school. I think that's the position I have the most experience in.
Nate, I apologize. We're actually we're losing you a little bit. We're going to see if we can't get that corrected and bring him back because I want to hear more about his interest. And that's what he's been playing most of this season has been center field.
Yeah.
Nate, can we hear you all right? Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're going to try to get that fixed, Nate. I apologize. We'll work on that. We just want to make sure that we can hear Nate.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what happened there.
Everything was great, and then it just sounded like he was in the distance a little bit. Yeah, he's played 41 games this season in center field, and 16 in right field, 13 in left field, and so it certainly looks like the Orioles envision him as a center field. A lot's been made about the 2 others that they drafted in the last couple of years, in Enrique Bradfield and Vance Honeycutt, but the way that Nate George is performing, it's totally possible he could jump ahead. Yeah, right. Jump ahead of a couple of those guys and sort of become the better option in center field moving forward.
You know, Griffin's having a great conversation with
Right. Let's talk a little bit more about it with Nate George. Nate, apologies. We were kind of losing you there. You were talking about how you've been more comfortable in center field.
Yeah.
Nate.
That's the position I'd say I have the most experience with in the outfield, so I'd say center field.
Okay.
Nate, I wonder, too, is it important for you to be playing? Because I know you've played a little bit of the corner spots as well. Is that important to you, say, hey, I think I'm a center fielder, but, not knowing where the opportunities are going to come from, wanting to make sure you're comfortable playing the other 2 as well?
Absolutely. I think as an organization too, they do a good job with moving us around. So I'm not just going to play center field the whole time, getting experiences and right and left too. So as I move up levels, so I can play anywhere in the outfield. I want to be comfortable at each and every position.
Let me stick with defense. Your arm from all three positions, do you think it plays at all three positions?
I'd say so, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
We like the sounds of that. We like everything about that. Nate, give me your background, right? Because we don't know as much about you, and we're trying to learn more at this point. Tell me about your path to baseball in general, where your love for the game came from, when you realized in your life, like, this is something that you might be able to do, and maybe the decision that you made to sign. You bring up, right, the fact that you didn't go where you wanted in the draft. Did you debate at all about signing? Did you have any of those thoughts about the process that you were going to take?
Yeah, so I started playing baseball when I was 6 years old, kind of just had a love for it ever since, just kept on playing, kept grinding, kept staying consistent and having a good work ethic. And then when I got to high school, started learning more about the draft and like realizing this could be something I could do out of high school. So I had my vision set on that, getting drafted after my senior year of school ball. So just continued to keep grinding, and then I got drafted. And it was a little back and forth about going to school or not, but ultimately I knew for my development this would be the best case scenario for me to go to the Orioles. They have a great history of developing their young players into good big leaguers. So I knew that going in, and ultimately that led me to the decision of signing with the Orioles.
Tell us a little bit about your hometown, Minooka, Illinois.
Yeah.
How big a town is it?
We actually had I think 700 kids in my graduating class from high school. So it sounds like it's real tiny, but we combine some of the other towns too, so we do get a decent size.
How far is it from Chicago?
It's about an hour south.
Okay, so
Did you grow up rooting for like the Cubs? Is that?
Yeah, I was a Cubs fan growing up,
sense.
like when they won the World Series and everything.
That was a moment in your life that's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Nate George of the Aberdeen IronBirds is with us here on GCR.
I got one other thing to say, Nate. My name is Stanley William Charles. I noticed that your full name is Nathan Justin George. So we have that in common.
The three first names, right? Like, isn't that the word? You're not supposed to trust someone with three first names.
Exactly.
The way that goes. Nate, I wonder, as you fell in love with baseball, was there a moment in your life that it struck with you, though, that like this isn't just something I'm doing for fun? Was there a performance you had, a season you had in high school, something like that, where it started to become real for you? Like, this really is my path.
I would say kind of just ever since I got to high school. This is new. This was something that I knew that I wanted to do. I try and not take it as a job every day and an opportunity that I get to use to just go out and have fun and do what I love. So it's obviously a job for me now, but I try not to look at it that way. I just try and look at it as a game. So just go out and have fun, but also make sure I'm working hard and staying consistent with my work, because ultimately that's my goal. I want to be a Major League Baseball player.
Nate, how much does speed play as part of your game? I noticed the stolen base totals, and I noticed the triple totals. Is speed a big part of your game?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that definitely helps out too. For me, if the bat's not so hot in certain weeks, I could lay bunts down, I could beat out infield hits, and then when I get on base, I can create chaos in my legs by stealing bags and messing with pitchers. So that's something that I could definitely use to my advantage.
We're actually watching a highlight right now from the IronBirds of a double that you had, and boy, you are flying around the bases, man. Like, that doesn't take long at all. Nate, I know you referenced that you knew your ability and you believed in your talent, but the way this season has gone, has any of this surprised even you? Like, has there been a moment where you're like, man, I thought I was going to have a good season, but even I didn't know it was going to be this good?
I set high expectations for myself.
Okay.
I've always been like that since I've been young. I've been very hard on myself. So this is something that I expect from myself. In the game of baseball, it's a lot of failure. So not knowing that not every day is going to go your way. But I'm real happy with how the season's played out for me, and I feel like I'm putting my tools on good display, and I'm looking forward for the next couple of years and to see how my development comes along. I
know part of it, to your point, right, what you said about development, I know part of it is just continuing to grow as you go from level to level, and I know it was kind of a slow start as you got to Aberdeen, but you're starting to pick that up already. But are there other areas of your game specifically, regardless of opponent, that you just say, I still, I'm my harshest critic. I still think I can be better at this.
Yeah, I would say every part of my game. There's no part of my game right now that I think is fully developed. I think I still have so much more work to do in every aspect of my game, and that's going to come with time and working with these professionals and these great coaching staff that we have with the Orioles. So just taking every day, one day at a time, knowing that each part of my game, just try and get it 1% better each and every day.
I would ask if power is one of those things, and I feel like there's a trade-off here because it might totally be that you say, I'm okay with the fact that maybe I'm not going to be the most prodigious power hitter and that my game is going to be more about getting on base and wrecking havoc, or is that still something that you'd like to add more of moving forward?
I want to work on everything, every aspect of my game, power, contact, speed. I'm not satisfied with any part of my game right now.
I appreciate that. I can't even imagine how good it's going to be if that ends up being the case because it's so good right now.
Hey, Nate, I'm just curious. We're learning about you. Can you tell us a couple names down on the farm that you think we should keep an eye on?
Andrew Tess, keep a guy on that guy. That's my guy. He's a catcher. He's fast. He can do it all. So definitely look out for him. He's in Low A Del Marva right now.
Okay.
Nate, you bring up what you knew about the Orioles organization and making your decision to sign. Were there guys in the system already that you knew or that you talked to about it? Because, again, I'm sure there's a possibility that some would say you ultimately leave a little bit of money on the table signing when you did. Like, did you have to go through that process, or was it just seeing the sort of talent pipeline that's come through the Orioles organization the last few years that made you make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying earlier, like development is really big for me. I did know a couple of the guys, like just big names that I recognized that were in my draft class. And actually, Andrew, we actually played together in a couple tournaments in high school and also played against each other. So
That's
that was
cool.
pretty cool to see him. See him in the same boat as me too. And we've been getting after it this season. So looking forward to see how his development comes along.
Rising together.
Just curious, the power aspect. Do you and your coaches talk about that much, or is it something that they've said we'll discuss that
it'll
more
come.
with you during the off season and something we'll work on then, or is it something that you're kind of ongoing trying to adapt some strategies on that?
I mean, I'm not really trying to change much of my swing right now. I really like where I'm at. Something kind of more, I'd say, focused for the off season.
Okay.
I'd say for me, I want to work on lifting the ball to the pull side a lot more.
Okay.
Rather than, the top spin line drives. So that's something I'm definitely going to get after this off season. Hopefully that'll transition over into spring training into the next season.
Wait, do you have plans for the off season yet? Like where you're going to train, where you're going to be?
I'm going to be at our spring training complex in Sarasota.
Okay. Was that purposeful? Was that an idea they had, or was that something that you just thought would be helpful?
It was an idea that I ran by them, and they said it was okay for me to train there.
That's cool, man. Like, it seems like, obviously, then you're around you. That dialogue, I think, would be helpful, right? Was that part of the reason why you had the idea?
Absolutely, yeah. Because in Illinois, I love the places that I train at, but I don't really get any really kind of strict one-on-one coaching and one-on-one development with professionals, guys that have done it and have been through the whole process. So those are guys that I want to be surrounded by.
That's really smart, man. That is really smart.
Nate, I got one more for you. You're how old, 19?
19. Yeah.
19. I'm just curious how a young player like you, when you said that thing about the I want to hit the with more power to the
pull side,
side and the spin, whatever you said. I'm 73 years old. So it's a huge difference in the gap of knowing baseball. Do you understand the analytics that they try and maybe teach you some of? What makes you successful?
The science of baseball at this point.
We are really analytical as an organization, I would say, and I'm slowly starting to pick it up. Sometimes I try not to take too much of it in, especially, on game days and when I'm playing.
Right.
But definitely during this off season, that's something that I want to really hammer and develop and learn more, especially when I'm not playing games every day. Just the little advantages that can give me the edge, in the long run.
Man, sounds
I dig
good.
it, man. You're wise beyond your years, Nate George. All right, tell me about Nate George away from baseball. What do you get into? What are you all about when you're not on a field? Where will we find you on a Monday? Or when you maybe get a week at the end of the season to actually down? Like, what are you all about?
You'll probably catch me going for walks. I love going for walks, finding trails, going for hikes, all that. I'm not really
Have you been hitting
I'm kind of a basic guy when it comes to that.
Have you hit the Ma and Pa Trail yet in Hartford County?
I have not yet, no.
I would strongly recommend. It's a very cool trail up there. It's more like Bel Air than Aberdeen. Trust me on this. I used to do it all the time. I'd bike, I'd run, the whole thing. It's a really cool trail, man.
I'm going to look into that.
What else?
Oh, man.
Girlfriend yet? Serious girlfriend?
No girlfriend. Love to read my Bible. Love going to church.
Cool.
And, yeah, I would say, I'm pretty basic in that department. I wouldn't say I'm too exciting when it comes to stuff outside of baseball.
I mean, the baseball part's working, so, I don't think we have to worry about too much else. Hey, the IronBirds are home this weekend for you to check them out. Tonight they are hosting the Zorb Ball Tournament of Champions 3. Stan, you said you were going to be competing, right, in the Zorb Ball tournament?
I pulled my anal gland.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Jesus, Stan.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, a blew-out game tomorrow night and Sunday. They are celebrating Cal Ripken Jr.'s birthday on Sunday at Ripken Stadium. So a great weekend to get up and check out the Aberdeen IronBirds. Nate, you are on social. It's __ Nate George on Instagram, correct?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
And then are you on Twitter as well?
I don't have Twitter, no.
Good for
I have
you.
an account, but I don't have the app installed right now.
Good for you. Good for you. It's a cesspool. Stay away. I love that. Hey, Nate, congratulations, man, on everything you've accomplished so far. We can't wait to see what's next for you as you continue to rise in this organization. Thank you for spending time with us this morning.
Thanks, Nate.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Continued good luck.
Nate George, who literally has just flown onto the radar this year for the Baltimore Orioles after being a 16th round pick last year, and is now risen, was recently named a top 100 prospect in baseball by Baseball America. And you look at the numbers, and again, the only exception being power, that it's only been 4 home runs. I know everybody talks about how typically that comes as you get to the next levels, but if he's getting...
Comes when you get a girlfriend.
Is that what it is normally, the way that works?
That's
Chicks
what
do
always,
dig the long
that's
ball.
why you asked.
And
Right.
I was never much of a
That's
fan.
true. You get on base at a 450 clip, no one's going to care. It's really a 416 clip, but still.
Yeah, I'll take the 416.
Yeah, we'll deal with that and what the power numbers end up being. But an unbelievable season that Nate George.
Another nice stat to look at. 50 strikeouts, 34 walks.
Mm-hmm.
You get those kind of numbers. That's a guy who knows the strike zone and knows his swing.
No doubt about it. All right, Stan is here. Today's show is also brought to you by the Maryland 5-Star, which returns this October to Fair Hill in Cecil County. Maryland5star.us with a number 5 in order to get your tickets for the 5th edition of the Maryland 5-Star world-class sporting event, the Triple Crown of Equestrian, and also a celebration of the fall here in the state of Maryland, including the Corgi Cup, the ponies, the Food and Wine Festival, and so much more. Maryland 5-Star, Maryland5star.us. Come back in. A couple other things I want to run by Stan, then we're going to chat with Brian Newberry, Navy football coach. That's on the way. Glenn Clark Radio.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantopoulos family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1970. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolko profiles Ravens running back Derrick Henry and how the football legend has proven to be a unicorn at the position with the success that he's found after the age of 30. Also inside, Brandon Schwartzberg looks at Kobe Mayo's push to find rhythm at the big league level. And we mark the start of the college football season by meeting players from all 4 FBS and FCS programs throughout the state. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Friday edition of the program. Today's show is also brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Best place to watch all the big events is inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Of course, the 100-foot media wall. Football season starts technically tomorrow. College football week 0. Then obviously a huge weekend next weekend, college football, all the big games on the 100-foot media wall at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland.
That Griffin has a bed out at Sports and Social.
When we do events, yeah, they take care of him.
Because
he's the star. He's the guy. So, Stan, a couple things. Obviously, we were talking so much about Samuel Basallo earlier that we didn't get the chance to talk about the bad news this week. That is what we feared last week, that Felix Bautista is not only going to be down for a while, but given the nature of the injury, there's real question about whether or not Felix Bautista will ever be
Felix who?
Felix Bautista.
Felix who?
Bautista, he was the closer for the Orioles. I don't know if you remember him.
Don't remember him.
This is confirmation clearly that they have to be aggressive. We knew they were going to have to be aggressive with getting leverage arms this offseason. We knew that would be the case. But now, to me, there's no internal closer option here. This has to be aggressive in pursuit of a closer and not a stopgap closer, but really addressing the position aggressively this offseason. Right.
Well, Craig Kimbrell signed with the
I did see that.
It
is unbelievable that Craig Kimbrell, it's unbelievable that he's still finding work at this point. Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the option.
No.
I don't think that's the one. We were talking about some of the options before the show.
Yep.
Is there a direction that you could see the Orioles going?
It's a little too soon yet to see what the actual market's going to be. One arm I've been keeping an eye on. I used to always get caught taking him in the belief that he was going to be a really good starting pitcher. It was Brad Keller, who has surfaced with the Cubs this year and has done a really good job not being a closer, but being that second banana, or you could say third banana.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to need some arms out there. And
they're going to
two arms that pop at me that aren't very expensive, even though we might have to go toe-to-toe with the Cubs, is Brad Keller with the Cubs, and this left-hander for the Rangers, Hobie Milner, who I really like.
But do you think either one of them are a closer?
No, I think they're the guys you help build.
Yeah, to get to
and it's possible that between Tyler Wells and Cade Stroud, and Dietrich Enns. You might have 1.5 of those two guys, already on hand. My fear about Wells is not that they'll end up making the same mistake they made 3 times with him being a starting pitcher, is that he goes to the bullpen, is doing a terrific job, and then just has an injury, because Tyler Wells.
It's big getting into it's always something
risk. So
conversation.
They clearly need an option, whether it's Kenley Jansen, Rafael Iglesias. I don't know right this offhand who all the options will be out there. I think the Red Sox are going to probably sign Chapman again.
The way that he's pitching,
he's
been outstanding.
This year,
So if you've got 8 spots available in your bullpen, you assume that there's going to be a starter that's going to be in the long roll, whether that's Suarez or, if they're really aggressive and that ends up being, Cade Povich, whoever it would be. There's going to be one of those guys. One of those spots is taken by that guy.
Aiken will be back.
Aiken's in the bullpen for sure. Tyler Wells, we are putting in the bullpen despite the fact that
there's a good chance he'll be part of the bullpen next year. I don't think that they should view him as the out-and-out closer. They have to go in next year.
I think they need to get it. I think they have to spend real money on a major. If they're serious about winning, like if they're serious about going for it next year, it's not with an experimental closer.
No,
it's with someone proven at the back end of the bullpen. Right. So I would definitely, to your point, put Dietrich Enns in the bullpen.
I would put him in the competition right now for a bullpen spot with a leg up, pending how he looks the next 10 or 12
Sure, that's fair.
times.
Right, that's fair. Right. And you mentioned Cade Stroud or Martin or one of those guys that could maybe get into the conversation.
Although, despite his,
I'm not putting them in. I think there's almost like a spot.
I think Enns and Aiken, I'm pretty sure will be in, and Wells will be.
And I think there'll be one spot for a starter that will be pitching out of the bullpen or a traditional long relief guy.
Right.
So that's 4 of your bullpen spots to me that are taken, which leaves you needing to fill 3 leverage arm spots and closer.
Yeah. So to me, Milner, Keller, and then a closer.
How about we bring in Robert Suarez?
Yeah, a lot of people have been bringing that up.
Suarez
right. So Robert Suarez apparently has an opt-out in his contract at the end of this year, and
so he'd be making $8 million the next 2 seasons if he decides to opt in. He'd be $8 million.
And that's why everybody seems to think, because he's established himself as a legitimate closer.
Well, they might have somebody that could.
It's certainly helping the recruiting. Yeah, there's no doubt that they would have a lead recruiter to put on the assignment to try to get Robert Suarez. I guess my answer would be yeah. I mean, that he certainly is a qualified major league closer.
Yeah.
He's not as maybe electric as some other guys are, but he's undoubtedly a qualified, trust him major league closer. He would fit the bill. And if there is, interest, if that's something that he and his brother have talked about, like, hey, wouldn't that be cool? Who knows? I'm certainly not.
Or maybe we could trade Albert for Manny Machado.
Oh yeah, probably not. I don't think so. But make the call, right?
Manny and Robert.
Well, you don't have to trade for Robert. You can sign Robert. He's going to opt out, right? You have to trade for Manny. But that would be disappointing for Robert if he thought he was coming here to reunite with his brother, and then they're like, "Sorry, we can't give you that. We can only give you Manny Machado." And he's like, "No, I don't want any of that. I don't."
Here.
Right? Why would I want to do that?
I haven't looked fully at the market. I started to look at bullpen arms. One arm that I have no interest in having back with the Orioles is trying to resuscitate.
Hunter Harvey?
No, resuscitate Yennier
Cano. Yennier Cano can't even be part of the conversation for me, other than if he stays in the organization.
He's a nice gentleman.
Does he have another option next year?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they control him for a couple years.
That to me would be the only route that Yennier Cano stays with the Orioles, is you bring him back, you option him, and you figure out if at some point when you need someone.
I see the list now that we put up there.
Yeah, Matt Wyrick put this out.
Ryan Helsey would certainly be interesting. Devin Williams, I have to believe that Devin Williams got caught up in the New York,
all of it.
New York aura. He'd be interesting. Emilio Pagan is a guy I was the first guy in our fantasy baseball league that had him about 7 years ago. I've always liked his arm, and he's pivoted into a closer role in Cincinnati this year.
Hunter Harvey's never really been a closer.
They can't possibly bring him in. He's injured again.
Right. He's barely pitched this season. Yeah. But, again, they're going to have to make up the rest of the bullpen, too, right? Like, I'm not
Mike's not going to miss that.
Yeah. But they need to it can't be an experimental closer. That, to me, is that this is not the time for
No, the experiment was Craig Kimbrell on a one-year deal when they knew that Bautista was
coming
missing
back.
the whole year. They jumped at that. They got to get something more
this
certain than
there is no longer a closer that exists within the Orioles organization at any point that we know of in the future. Now, if it can always happen that you sign someone, they get hurt, and then while they're hurt, you have to experiment again with like Tyler Wells being your closer. And if you do that and Tyler Wells looks the part for a little while, maybe he's your closer of the future. But you can't go into next year making that you can't run the risk of this. We have to bounce back next year.
Yeah.
We have to get back into the conversation, and we're going to experiment at the closer
spot. They can't do what they did with Morton and Sagano in the bullpen.
Correct.
Like say, hey, we'll get two guys that can get 15 saves. They got to get a guy that can be the guy.
All right, Stan's not going to go anywhere. He's going to stick around because he has a hot take related to dildos. Wow. And I'm not kidding. And it's actually very thoughtful. So we're going to let Stan share that, but we got some other things we need to do before that. And I need to do this a little bit earlier on because of his schedule, getting ready for the start of the season, but an opportunity for the first time this year to catch up with the head football coach at the Naval Academy, Coach Brian Newberry on GCR. Well, we are just over a week away from the start of Navy football season. They begin things next Saturday at noon at home against VMI. Coming off an outstanding season, joining us once again here on the program, he is Coach Brian Newberry. He is with us here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's great to see you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
I know that you are all on to this year. I understand that's the way that it works, right? But everything good that came from last season, I know there's still bigger goals, right, to win the conference, everything like that. What did it do for the program? What did it do for all of the guys who were back to have gone through a year like that, to sort of see all of this come to fruition the way that you guys intended when you took over?
Yeah. Well, I'd say that you kind of said it, past success doesn't determine future success. And I think it's important to understand that. But it certainly does create a sense of confidence, a sense of expectation in your program and what you're capable of doing when you do things the right way. Had a good feeling going into last season about our team, about the character of our team, about the work they put in. In the off season, I felt like we did all the right things, to prepare, embrace the process and the work the way that we needed to. And I thought we were a team that going into the season deserved to have some success. Obviously didn't know what that was going to look like, but turned out pretty good. And so I'm at a point again where I feel really good about our team based on the way they've embraced things going back to January. And, I think the mentality of, right, how can we evolve? How can we continue to get better? How can we do things better than they've ever been done before? And not lean on last year, but build on last year and the legacy that the senior class left. How can we honor that and build on that? And I think we've done that. And so I feel good about that part of it. You always have concerns. This time of year going into the seasons, you're always going to have some concerns, maybe some deficiencies here and there and areas where you don't have as much depth, things like that. And so we're working through some of that stuff. And, a little banged up from camp, like probably everybody is, but I feel good about this team. I feel good about the leadership and good about the work. Going back to January and maybe the most consistent team as far as upholding the standard on a consistent basis that I've been around in a long, long time. So a lot of reason for optimism for sure. Based on the work and based on some of the returning pieces, some of the new pieces that I'm excited about as well. So. Optimistic.
I wanted to follow up, and you kind of allude to it a little bit. I wondered if you had to have any conversations where, like, don't get complacent had to be a message at all this offseason, or if maybe given, like, what the group accomplished, they didn't need that. They didn't need to hear it from you guys because they knew themselves, and they were ready to build off of it.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit of both of that. You know, you got to make sure that there's no sense of entitlement or a feeling that we've arrived by any stretch of the imagination. You know, my first year was 2019. We won 11 games. The following year, we won 3. So you're just 1 year removed from. And the previous year, before the 11 wins, it was a team that won 4 games. So each year is its own. This is a different football team. So you keep them humble, but I don't think, when I say confidence, there's not a sense of arrogance by any stretch of the imagination. I think guys know that we're not going to sneak up on anybody. That we're going to have a little bit more of a target on our backs now. And so the message was going back to January, hey, we're still the hunter. We're still the team that's the underdog. We're still the team that has a chip on our shoulder, something to prove all the time. And we've got to play with an edge. We're going to have to fight and claw and scratch, for everything that we get. There's only a few times this year where we're going to be as talented as the teams that we're playing. And our guys know that. So there's a formula to win here, and our guys know exactly that.
Coach Brian Newberry from Navy is with us here on GCR. Coach, you do bring back a lot of your offense, particularly the skill position players, but nothing can do more for a program, I would think, than bringing back an experienced, outstanding quarterback. What does that do for everybody? Like, we know how good Blake is. You don't have to tell us how good Blake is. We all saw it. But what does that do for the entirety of the program to have the confidence in the guy that's under center, to not have to worry about that? How does that lift everyone?
Yeah, he elevates the guys around him. There's no question, just being on the field and the confidence that those guys have in him. So it's great to have your quarterback back, especially a guy like Blake Horvath. Second year in the system, prior to last year, he had 3 different offensive coordinators. And so to have him in the same system for 2 years, it's really cerebral, really, really smart. His comfort level now is much farther ahead than it was, a year ago. What we're able to do with him in regards to choicing some things or getting us into the right play. Our Coach Cronick's confidence and familiarity with him, just another year. And he's a guy that had a really good offseason. He's put on some weight, and we knew going in to the offseason that was a priority for us to be able to keep him healthy. He needed to gain some weight, and he did that, and he's continued to progress. And what people don't talk about a lot, Glenn, are the pieces around him. We've got some really, really good skill players around him. We're better at wide receiver than we were a year ago.
Okay.
And arguably the second most important piece, right, is your offensive line. And that's the part for us is maybe our biggest concern right now. And some talented guys and some good players coming back in the interior, but some inexperienced guys on the outside, guys are talented, but are going to have to come along for us to be who we want to be offensively.
Are you starting 2 sophomores at tackle? Is that the plan?
Yeah, but potentially, that may be up to a game week.
Okay.
But we're working through that stuff right now, and you go through camp and you get banged up a little bit, and you have to move guys around and try some different things. And I think it's an O-line that's going to continue to get better and better. But that's a piece that's going to really come along. It's going to be really important, part of our success this year.
You bring up those skill position players around Blake, and obviously we saw Eli and Alex, how good they were a year ago, and Nathan Kent. Who else has stepped up that you feel like is ready to be a bigger contributor offensively this season, Coach?
Yeah. Well, the name you didn't mention is Brandon Chapman, who had a good year for us last year, and he's a guy that's with some injuries. He's healthy. He may have one of the best camps of any of our offensive players. Just a dog, undersized kid, is really dynamic, playmaker. You mentioned Tesca, I think ready to have a breakout year. And obviously Eli Heidenreich, I think, is a special player. But we've got depth behind those guys now. Luke Hutchinson at wide receiver has been a guy that's made a lot of big plays for us in fall camp. And the combination of him and Nathan Kent out there, both those guys can knock the top off the coverage. Josh Guerin's another wide receiver that can run. And so what we do offensively, if you have an X receiver out there, you're going to get a lot of one-on-ones. You feel good about throwing the ball up to. It's going to make some plays that really changes things for us. But we've got a lot more depth, a lot more playmakers at the skill positions, than we did a year ago. A guy like Charles Robinson, who was a quarterback, we moved him to slot.
Okay.
He's playing that snipe position for us. He's been a pretty dynamic playmaker, going back to spring football and then fall camp, just really a guy that's gotten better every day. And so we've got a lot of good skill on the offensive side of football that I'm excited about.
It sounds like you're almost asking defenses to stuff the box against you, Coach. Like, please, go right ahead. We'd love for you to try that.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's great about what we do. We want to be able to run the football. We have to be able to run the football here at the Naval Academy. But to have the ability when people are doing that to make them pay for it. The idea is to run the football and be deadly efficient when we do throw it. And with the quarterback we have right now, we've got the ability to do both those things. But really love what we're doing schematically. Love the way we're structured and built. Love what Coach Kernick's done with the offense and how we've added a few wrinkles. And that thing will always continue to evolve. And he's a master at that and really, customizing the offense to the personnel and what we do really well. He's really, really good at that. Excellent play caller. But we got a lot of guys that need to get their hands on the football, and it's good to have options for that. Makes us a little less predictable, right?
Well, I love the sounds of it. Coach Brian Newberry with us here on GCR from Navy. Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, two particularly quality football players, but I think the leadership part is the part that's interesting. And losing Colin Ramos and Ray Lane, who obviously has found his way with the Jaguars. How do you go about not just the quality, again, what they brought to the field, but what they brought leadership-wise? How do you go about replacing that this season?
Yeah, big shoes to fill. Really, really hard to replace those guys. You look at a guy like Ray Lane, who's obviously a special talent that we don't see here often at the academy, who played 43 straight games, for us going back to his freshman year. So that's almost impossible to replace, obviously, that experience. And he was really an eraser, back there in the secondary. When something did break, there was a good chance he was going to run it down and give us a chance to play another snap. Really difficult to replace. Colin Ramos, phenomenal leader, also played as a freshman, played a ton of snaps for us. And the great thing about the Naval Academy, we are truly a developmental program. And there's always guys that are buying their time, putting in the work, that are behind those kind of great players. And so I'm excited about the guys that we have coming up. Really excited about our two linebackers. Right now, Job Grant, who's a 6'2.5", 230-pound kid that can run. That Mike, Mark Anthony Parker, is a good-sized will linebacker who Coach Volker, our defensive coordinator, says maybe one of the smartest linebackers he's ever coached.
Wow. And
a really good athlete too. So I'm really excited about those guys. And we have some pieces, in the secondary. I feel good about our corners. We have some talented safeties, but those guys are guys that don't have a lot of game experience, but I'm excited about the potential there. We're really athletic on defense, maybe as athletic as we've ever been. Here we've got some size up front, some depth up front.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a Landon Robinson up front.
No. And when you talk about leadership, it doesn't get a whole lot better than what he's provided, as one of our captains. And very similar to what Blake Horvath does for the offense, he does for the defense. Phenomenal young man, great leader, and a really good football player who I think had a good year last year. He's primed to have a big-time breakout year.
Coach, we've I've never asked you this specifically because I didn't know what position you guys are going to be in, but we know what the goals are for Navy football. And last year was you beat Army, right? Like you win the CIC. Those are the goals. Do you talk openly about winning the league, getting into the do you discuss those things, or are you too what's in front of me? We don't go down that road.
That's a great question. We have goals in this program, and I think they're kind of unspoken a little bit. Don't talk about winning a lot. Don't talk about those goals a ton. We talk.
Oh, Coach, I apologize. I think we got you frozen. Chatting with Coach Brian Newberry here on GCR, Navy football coach with us, and we'll see if we can't reconnect with him. In the meantime, I will remind everyone that today's show is brought to you by, this one's going to be brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. Of course, whatever it is that you're dealing with as a man of a certain age, you may be struggling, Game Day Men's Health can help. Get a free testosterone test by going to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. You can give them a call, Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, 443-264-4454. Game Day Men's Health in Columbia. Give them a call, 443-266-3505. Or if you're headed out west, Game Day Men's Health in Frederick, 240-931-3717. You're just not the same age that you were. Things are different in your 40s than they were in your 20s. You don't feel the same. For me, it was feeling sluggish. It was feeling run down. And so I turned to Game Day Men's Health, and they helped me out. I thought I might be low T. As it turns out, I just needed a little pick-me-up. The peptide proteins did the trick for me. And for you, it could be anything. It could be an awful lot of things that could solve the problem. I encourage you to turn to Game Day Men's Health.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's my fault. And we lost internet here in the building for some reason. But, yeah, we don't talk a lot about winning. We talk about the things that are necessary to produce those outcomes. And so the coach talk around here is let's go 1-0.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the task at hand, whether that be a meeting or a weight room session or being in the training room and to be where our feet are and not put the cart before the horse, so to speak. And so it's about embracing the process and the work and doing things that give us a chance to be successful around here. And I mentioned earlier, being a team that deserves success. You can't get too far ahead of yourselves. And of course, we want to win the CIC. We want to win our conference. And if you win our conference, you have a chance to get yourself into the college playoff. And that would be the ultimate goal. But we don't talk about it a ton. We talk about what's right in front of us and what's necessary and upholding the standard around here.
How many of your brethren in the coaching ranks reach out to you in the off season with jealousy that you're not dealing with the stuff that they're dealing with?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few. I've got a lot of friends out there coaching a lot of different places and have great jobs at really good places. But certainly, it's frustrating times for coaches. Rightfully so. And you get in this profession to build relationships, to make an impact and make a difference. And it's not that it's impossible to do it right now. It's become more difficult for sure.
How impressed are you by these young men that because they do have the option, right? Like they could choose to move on. How impressed are you that these young men, when they make this commitment, overwhelmingly, they stay. They're here. They are sticking it out with you, and this is what they want to do.
Yeah, super impressed. As a coach, you're supposed to be the inspirational one here, and these guys, they inspire us, on a daily basis. And it's fun to be a part of a culture like this where these guys, it's about more than football here at the academy. These guys are midshipmen, that play football and they embrace that. They embrace the service piece of things. And so it's fun to be around that. It's fun to be around a bunch of unselfish guys that put the team before everything else, and these days with the transfer portal, we certainly have guys that could have put their name in there and had some options and be able to make some money. But they see the value in the degree from the Naval Academy. They love their brothers here. And they know that, while we don't do NIL and those kind of things here, it's NIL here is on the back end of getting that degree and serving their country. And it's something that's going to last them the rest of their lives.
And it's going to change your life. There's no question about that. Coaches, as we wrap, I'd be remiss. You and I haven't spoke since Pete's passing. And I know from being around the program, I know the relationship you had, and can you tell us what Pete meant to you, what he meant to Navy, what he meant to everyone in that community?
Yeah, everybody knew Pete loved him. He was a special human being and phenomenal at his job. Was super passionate about the Naval Academy and about our players, and it was. I think about him all the time, and I'll never hear into the checkerboard end zone, or we'll never score another touchdown where I don't hear his voice, in the back of my head. But great human being, first and foremost. It was great at his job, and we certainly still miss him around here and think about him often.
There's no question about that. Touchdown Navy midshipman, no doubt about it. It is cool that Keenan is back involved with the program. I think for all of us, I think that's a really special thing, knowing that he's going to be around on game day.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a special player here and another special young man. She's not young anymore, but it'll be glad to have him back.
Love that. Coach Brian Newberry, we are very excited about what is ahead for your team this season and the opportunities that are there for what you can do. And, of course, all of that starts as you're only worried about the one. That's next Saturday, of course, at home, and starting it off 1-0. Coach, appreciate you taking the time for us. We'll be checking in throughout the course of the season. Thanks for doing this, and go get them, all right?
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate you.
That's Brian Newberry, Navy football coach. They get ready for VMI next Saturday in Annapolis to open up the season. Appreciate him taking the time for us this morning.
Nice beard.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got a good beard.
He's got a solid beard. He also just sounds like someone. Every time I talk to Brian Newberry, I'm like, this man knows exactly what he's talking about. Like, there's no confusion there whatsoever.
What's Ken doing now?
He's a coach at San Jose State.
Okay.
Yep.
He's a head coach.
Yep. Had a nice year last year.
They were a passing offense last year.
What was he doing last year?
Last year was his first year at San Jose State.
What was his first job? Didn't he?
He was at UCLA. He was on the staff at UCLA for a minute, and then when Chip Kelly left. Right. He ended up as the head coach at San Jose State.
Good for
and
him.
they went to what bowl? They went to the Hawaii Bowl, right? Last year, that was the bowl game, which was really cool for Ken.
That was fixed.
You think that was fixed?
fixed,
Oh man, I didn't realize that's the direction that we were going.
But,
That was a thriller, didn't it go like 4 overtimes or something like that? It was a
I
wild
know a thing
game.
or two about a thing or two.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you know a thing
Name
or
one
two
of those
about
things.
dildos is something that Stan the fan knows a thing or two about. Stan came in today and said, "It's something I want to talk about." And I said, "All right, Stan. Well, it's."
He said, "There's something that's been up my."
Oh God. You're the chief grand poobah here at Pressbox. Maybe we understand what happened to his anal glands now. Now we know why he can't compete in the Zorball Championship this weekend.
Now you're making light of this.
I know it's a very. So he presented it and I was like, oh man, are we really going to talk about this? But then he presented what he wanted to say and I said, makes a lot of sense.
Most guys a basketball game throwing a dildo, onto the floor. I would say all of us kind of, that's really fun.
I would not put myself in that category.
Okay, but I'm saying most guys.
I think the first time it happened at a football game, I thought it was sort of funny, and then I just realized.
I never knew that.
Oh, it happened in the NFL a few
Happened at a
times.
Bills game.
Yeah, the Bills have like a history.
Bills
with
do it all the time.
Yeah.
Really?
It's almost like a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
well,
then
my basic point is, this is just pure misogynistic asshole behavior. It really is at its core. Secondly, and more importantly, it's actually dangerous to both the fans that might be in the way of an errant dildo throw and the players that are on the floor. It's not funny. It's not funny by any way, shape, or form. And then to read that there's a crypto organization that's behind it that thinks it must be funny or something like that, and they're trying to disrupt and embarrass a business. I just think that there's a failure here of the male sports industry in standing up and in no uncertain terms. In other words, anybody that would do that really doesn't give a rat's ass about what they're at, the event they're at. Okay? In other words, they think it's a one-off, and I don't care. They'll throw me out of this. I think that the commissioners of all the sports, and especially the NBA, which is basically funded because it grows the product, I think these commissioners, Adam Silver, Roger Goodell, and Rob Manfred, and Gary Bettman in hockey, I think they need to take a stand. And it's one thing for some jackass that thinks, I'll go to a WNBA and I'll throw a dildo down there, because I don't care about getting into a WNBA game or not. They should be plastered when they catch these jackasses. They should be plastered at stadiums, and they should not be. I don't know I don't know all that goes into that.
They do this. They say they have facial recognition software and all that sort of stuff.
I think that those people should be banned
from
attending sporting events.
From all.
College
not
football,
just from WNBA games.
Right.
From all events and anywhere ever.
Yeah.
And
you could even extend it to concerts. Make these people really ostracized.
Stan, I would go maybe a step beyond this, right? Because I wouldn't leave this unique to
you
this.
You would castrate them?
Yeah, correct. Take it right. No, this is unique in that it's happened a few times this summer in the WNBA.
Yeah.
But I would say this relates to anyone throwing things onto a field anywhere. We've been through this way too many times with like college football fans that are pissed off about a call.
Right.
And they just start throwing beer bottles onto a field. And that is, and I get it that most places have gotten rid of bottles. You can't get bottles anymore. It's all plastic. But this thing where we've allowed it to just sort of be, the punishment has clearly not been I deal with this as a parent all the time.
Yeah.
Where I say with my wife, like, clearly our punishments aren't enough because it's not changing the behavior. My kids have decided that if they lose their computer for a week, like, they'll take that trade-off to not eat their vegetables. So the punishment has to change. It has to be something that makes them think about it. And to the point, not just, like, it's so embarrassing. I even hate talking about it. But it's anyone, anywhere who thinks it's okay to throw something onto anything at all, whether it's a sex toy or whether it's
taking it to the point where. But you agree with me?
I absolutely agree with
the sports industry.
Yes,
is a great place for them to all stand together
and say we're not doing this.
This is not acceptable.
We're going to end this.
Yeah.
I've said this a million times. You know how you end in the NFL? There was the thing where sometimes magically a team's communication would go out during the course of a game. And they'd be like, well, that means the other team can't use it, and so we'll have to use hand signals. And, of course, that's a little bit easier for the home team than it is for the away team in that circumstance. And maybe the home team knew that something like that might happen during the course of the game, and perhaps they had worked on their hand signals a little bit more that week. So I said back in the day, you know how you make sure this never happens again? If someone's communication goes out at the game, you have to stop the game. You can't keep playing. Mm-hmm. And you know what happens? No one's communication goes out anymore.
Right, exactly.
They make sure, because nobody wants the game to stop.
Right.
So they make sure they invest the money necessary that this never happens. To me, this has been an issue. We remember it from the World Series, the playoffs a few years ago in Atlanta, and that scene on the field after the sack fly call, the bogus, and it was a bad call. Everybody agrees with that. Right. But it led to all of this debris being thrown on the field. And we've seen it in college football. It's almost become a thing now in college football. Like, hey, if you throw enough debris, maybe they'll go look at and reconsider a play.
Right.
If the fans get involved and stop the action, force a stop in the action, maybe the officials will reconsider what happened on their call. And I get it. A lot of times they've been bad calls, and the fans have been right. But the answer can't be throwing anything onto the surface of play. It can never be the answer. Yep. And we have operated
even octopus in
Detroit. Well, I mean, maybe in hockey they'd have a different opinion about this subject. You're not wrong, because like they famously in places do like the teddy bear toss in hockey and hat tricks. Everybody throws their hat. I would assume hockey would still have a different set of rules than other sports would. But your theory to me is correct. I just think it needs to expand, and it's not just the dildo throwers. It's anyone who ever thinks that they can throw something onto a field of play or a court or wherever, you're done. Because if you can never go to any game ever again,
that's a punishment.
You're going to think about it.
Yep.
And there might still be, when you're drunk, that like you just forget that rules exist, and then you're paying a huge penalty to never be allowed to go to a game ever again. And then some of these teams might say, well, that's somebody who spends a lot of money with us, so we might have to, massage the rules a little bit for him. But to put it out there that everyone knows, if you one time ever throw something on a court, a field, you're not just banned from this place.
Yep.
You're not just banned from baseball games. You're banned from everywhere.
Right.
Forever.
Right.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree, Stan. We came to an agreement.
All
I'm going to think differently about dildos now moving forward. Every time I see a dildo, I'm going to think about Stan the Fan.
Well, one thing about yours, then we don't have to call it the dildo law.
No, we don't. We would be able to come up with a projectile law or something like that. That would be a little bit different. No, you're right. 100%.
Griffin Bass rule.
Because it's dildos, you think?
Because he looks like it.
Wow.
What?
Wow. That is. Hang on, look at me.
What?
I get it. All right.
I don't see it. What is this?
CountySports.zone is where you find everything related to high school sports news, scores, schedules, rankings,
he knows he's on camera now.
updates.
He knows he's on camera now, so he's become an actor.
I mean,
Look, he's how about the whip snakes?
No.
Whoa! Wow!
Kind of getting sick of you, Stan. You need me later this afternoon, don't you?
Oh boy!
I apologize.
Oh boy!
I apologize.
County Sports Zone is there. We go. That's our guy. Hey,
Let me hear it though.
St. Francis football plays on ESPN2 tomorrow night. So big game to start the season down in Florida against Chaminade, and every score, every schedule, every team, not just football, every sport. Badminton.
Yeah.
I don't think they do varsity dodgeball anywhere. I don't think that's one that you can find. Oh, you think it's coming?
Yeah.
I don't think they do curling anywhere. But every varsity sport that's available in the state of Maryland.
Starts tonight. Football starts tonight.
Yeah, 100%. It's underway. They got you covered at countysports.zone. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. We'll come back in. We will get a tidbit, tubular, and we'll wrap up the day previewing Ravens Commanders tomorrow with current commander, former Raven Carl Davis. That's on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
For fans of the Costas Inn, and who isn't, I have some great news. Now there's a second location to go along with 4100 North Point Boulevard. This one is at the Timonium OTB. This is Stan the Fan, and I have been a fan of the Costas Inn and Triantafalo's family for going on 30 years. They're open for lunch and dinner, same great Costas feel, same great menu and quality food you've been enjoying for well over 50 years. The exact address on your GPS is 2200 York Road, and their phone number at the new location is 667-406-1975. If you're new to the Costas experience, get ready for a real treat. All wrapped up in a new spacious dining room in Timonium at the OTB. If you want steamed crabs, you have them, and the full menu at 4100 North Point Boulevard. The number for reservations there at Costas, 410-477-1975.
Get ready, Baltimore. On Saturday, September 6th, the world's top pro cyclists return for the Maryland Cycling Classic, America's top pro road race. Cheer on elite men's and women's teams from around the globe as they battle it out on a brand new circuit through Charm City. Enjoy a free festival, fan zones, and all the action at Harbor Point and the Inner Harbor. Watch live on Maryland Public TV or join the live stream at marylandcyclingclassic.us. Don't miss the speed, the strategy, the spectacle. The Maryland Cycling Classic, September 6th in Baltimore.
This August, give your game day an upgrade at Live Casino. Enter to win an ultimate football package. We're giving away over $50,000 in game-changing prizes on Friday, August 29th. Earn entries daily for your chance to score a 100-inch TV, a state-of-the-art soundbar, and so much more. Don't sit on the sidelines. Make your play at Live Casino at Erndale Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR. Griffin, quickly, I sent you the link. The one thing that we didn't talk about, Lamar Jackson did not practice yesterday after leaving practice early on Wednesday, and John Harbaugh did address it yesterday. He did. I know the conspiracy theorists will still exist, and I'm not joining you guys on this one. This one's one where I think it really is as simple as they're making it out to be. Here's what John Harbaugh said when asked about Lamar Jackson yesterday and the fact that he missed practice a day after leaving early, having his foot stepped on.
Yeah. He got his foot stepped on, like we said yesterday. I think Chad had mentioned that. They did a quick X-ray, and there's no damage or anything like that. I'm sure it's a little sore today, so we just kept him in, but he's fine. He's going to be good.
Look, man, I get it. The Ravens have not always been forthcoming about injuries. I understand that.
Really?
Yeah, I know, Stan. Really? I know. And so that leads to, and yes, this was the other thing everybody saw. Apparently, Adam Schefter did a segment on ESPN about, is Lamar Jackson's foot injury more serious? I didn't see what he said in the segment, but Lamar Jackson himself saw this video and put a clown face up as a comment on the video.
It was a laughing emoji.
Oh, is it laughing? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Sorry,
yeah,
that's
Lamar
exactly
Jackson
very
yeah,
similar
scarier.
to a clown
yeah.
face.
So
scarier than the Ravens are letting on, and Lamar responded with a laughing.
Lamar Jackson clearly suggesting that is not correct. I understand the way that you feel. I understand the history of the Ravens and injuries. I get all of that. I do think that uniquely, this being Lamar Jackson, it's so serious that they're not going to outright lie the way that they have about this. And if there was something more going on, I think we would know that by now. I do understand that in particular, the second year that Lamar Jackson was sidelined, when he was going into free agency, there was a lot of, well, we think he's going to be back, and that created there was some friction there between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. There was some friction between the Ravens and the fans and Lamar Jackson. It was a complicated season. But on this one in particular, I believe the Ravens are telling the truth. If we get to 2 weeks from now and for some reason he's not, because he doesn't need to practice next week. They're not playing a game. It's the following week that he's got to practice. So if for some reason next week he doesn't practice at all, I can understand why people are going to continue to, go through this and believe that it's a conspiracy theory, but I am not going to join you on that.
Lame.
Let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the print issue of Press Box, which is available for free all around town right now. On the cover, Derrick Henry, great cover story from Bo Smolka about how Derrick Henry is a unicorn. You can go pick that up at your anywhere. I mean, really, there's how many locations around town where you can find Press Box, Stan?
It's about 450.
450 locations around town where you can find Press Box. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. And if you want, Stan said he'll come to your house. And he'll not only deliver it, he'll read it to you cover to cover. He will sit by your bedside and read you the entirety of this issue of Press Box, cover to cover, for the low, low price of $3,000. $3,000, Stan the Fan will drive to your house and will read you the entire issue. Now, if there are multiple people involved,
I'll do it for $2,000.
Now, wait a second. You're not going to just come here and undercut the Chief Grand Poobah. Yeah, but you're not, with all due respect, you're not Stan the Fan.
I need him later today. So
that's true. You kind of have to let him do this, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying. Okay, I tell you what. You get Griffin for $2,000. You get Stan for $3,000 for $10,000. $10,000.
You'll do it?
I will send my two sons over.
Wow.
For $10,000.
And
they will.
And they can stay with you?
100%. That's the way it's going to go. All right, what you got?
So last night, obviously the baseball game itself didn't go all too well. Dylan Beavers did hit the home run, and then we got the Samuel Basallo news this morning. But the baseball game didn't go great. Brandon Young gave up 7 runs.
Oh, there is football news. Sorry. Brian Robinson does get traded,
Brian
as expected, after he was held out of their preseason game on Monday. The Commanders deal Brian Robinson to the 49ers for a 6th-round pick. So somebody who was planning on taking another chance on Christian McCaffrey is wondering what that might mean. Somebody's like, does that impact my decision? Because I tell you who's not going to be taking another chance on Christian McCaffrey. This guy.
Jesus Sanchez was like 0 for 20 or 30 or something going into last night.
Yeah.
He had a 10-game hitless streak.
Unreal.
And responded with a 5-for-5 game against the Orioles last night.
Of course.
That's
baseball, Susan.
First player in Major League Baseball history to snap a 10-game hitless streak with a 5-hit game. The previous high was a 9-game hitless streak snapped by a 5-hit game in 1968 by this Minnesota Twin.
Harmon Killebrew. No. 1968 Minnesota Twins. Who you got, Stan?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Who are the 1968 name a 1968 Minnesota Twin?
Here, I got it for you.
It wasn't Harmon Killebrew? What was the question? I'm sorry,
It's all right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read the tweet for you. From Steve Grande of the Astros. Per Elias, Jesus Sanchez is the first player in Major League Baseball history to snap a 10-game hitless streak with a 5-hit game. The previous high was a 9-game hitless streak.
Is it Carew?
No. I have a tweet up on the screen, so everyone can see now. It was a 5-hit game by John Roseborough.
John Roseborough. Boy.
Could have been here for a
Used
while.
to catch Sandy Koufax.
There you go.
With the Dodgers and
name one more thing about John Roseborough than I was going to be able to name.
Bobby Witt joined the 100-100 club and just the 4th player to do so in his first 4 seasons. He joins a guy that joined the list earlier this season.
I know. I remember us having this conversation. Was it Acuna?
Nope.
Was it?
There's too many injuries for Acuna, unfortunately.
God, I remember us doing this.
Yeah. Who was it about?
It was about. Oh God, man. It was about. I don't remember.
Staying 100-100 club by a player in his first 4 MLB seasons. 100 home runs, 100 stolen bases in his first 4 seasons.
100. Jose Canseco.
No, not Jose Canseco. He was a.
Was it Julio?
It was Julio.
Okay.
Julio earlier this year was the 3rd player to join the list. Bobby Witt followed that up this week. He's the 4th player. The 2 other guys. Just give them to you, I guess.
A-Rod.
No, not A-Rod.
Carlos Beltran.
Not Beltran.
100 home runs.
One has got a fruity last name.
Darryl Strawberry. That's right. And the other one was.
And the other was.
Craig Biggio.
One half of a father-son MLB.
Bobby Bonds. Bobby Bonds.
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry, right. Bobby Bonds, Julio, and now Bobby Witt.
All right, very good. Congratulations to Bobby Witt. Here's what's coming up tubular-wise this weekend. It is a busy weekend. Orioles Astros tonight 7:05 on MASN. Lance McCullers, Cade Povich. Tomorrow 7:05 on MASN. Christian Javier, Dean Kramer, and Sunday 1:35 on MASN. Spencer Arrighetti and the Ace. Spencer Spaghetti and the Ace. Trevor Rogers for the Birds. Tomorrow.
When is his extension going to come?
Maybe this week.
And what will it look like?
It's a great question, Stan. It's a really good question. What the actual cost of? Because it's easy to say like sign Trevor Rogers, but we're saying that in hopes because you're still getting him on a fairly, and it might very well be that Trevor Rogers' camp is like, no, if he puts together another season like this next year, we're going to be getting 6 figures. So
one thing everybody's asking after the Basallo deal, what does it mean for Adley? And
well, Stan brought that up earlier. I don't know because I don't know yet if Basallo's a catcher. I don't know if it means anything for Samuel Basallo. But over the course of the next few weeks, if Samuel Basallo looks the part as a catcher, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what it means. But at the moment, I would say I am still operating that Samuel Basallo is a first baseman until definitively proven otherwise.
Unless we have some type of mea culpa where Adley comes out and says he's been having some emotional problems or it's something physical, I have no interest in extending Adley.
Well, extending, no, but I'm talking about the scenario where you brought up earlier the idea of trading him.
Yeah.
And again, none of that matters to me until I have enough evidence that Samuel Basallo is a catcher. Because all of the talent folks continue to say he's not. He's definitively not a catcher, but he's going to get a little runway to do it. And if he looks the part, then
all the experts were also saying that Adley was going to be
the greatest catcher.
$400 million extension.
I agree on all accounts. It's just going to have to be a. We'll see. And maybe internally the Orioles don't need to see it. Maybe they've decided already that at every level they've been happy with Samuel Basallo, the catcher, and they believe he is their catcher moving forward. But until I know that, I can't react to it as if one has anything to do with the other until that point. And I would be inclined to wonder if it has more to do with Kobe Mayo. And I would say that some of my Orioles sources have suggested the Kobe Mayo part of it might be more relevant. Tomorrow, Ravens-Commanders final preseason game. That's on WBAL at noon. ESPN Plus for the Philadelphia Water Dogs and Maryland Whipsnakes. 6 o'clock in the PLL quarterfinals. As we mentioned, ESPN 2 for St. Francis and Chaminade Madonna down in Florida, 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And
Madonna's
then,
performing.
correct, exactly right. That's a big get. Week 0 of college football highlights at noon. Iowa State, Kansas State from Dublin on ESPN, and then Fox has Fresno State, Kansas at 6:30. CBS has Stanford, Hawaii at 7:30. Those are the big ones in Week 0. The U.S. Open gets underway on Sunday for the first time. Coverage at 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus, noon on ABC, and then moves to ESPN2 at 3. And Loyola Soccer hosts Syracuse on Sunday. Just won a national championship like 2 years ago, I want to say. That's at noon on ESPN Plus as well. Anything non-sport? Oh, is the Lee Corso thing tonight?
I don't know.
Oh,
is
God,
that it would be next week, right?
No, that's the final game day.
Yeah, I know. So why wouldn't they do it the Friday before?
I believe they were going to air it tonight. Hang on a second.
Lee Corso ESPN special.
Debuts tonight at 9 o'clock on ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feels like that's a sports category, but
it's a television show. Go ahead.
There's not a whole lot. Hulu has a new movie called Eeny Meeny, former getaway
Actually
driver.
looks kind of good.
The special?
Yeah, no,
the show. You've heard of this?
I've seen trailers for it.
Samara Weaving, who was the babysitter in a Netflix comedy from like 2017. Marshall Lynch is in this movie too, Eeny Meeny. So, she's like she's a getaway driver, and they reel her back in. I don't know why it's called Eeny Meeny, but it looks okay.
All right.
Then Netflix has The Truth About Jussie Smollett as well.
Good.
A documentary.
Well, maybe it's one for book club. We'll find out. All right. Check it all out at GlennClarkRadio.com. Stan back in action on Monday with Ross and Luke and Power Rankings.
They'll be out Monday.
Very good. PressBoxOnline.com. At Stan the Fan is how you follow him. Thanks as well today to Nate George. Thanks to Brian Newberry and to Carl Davis, who we're about to hear from. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. We got to come up with something. Monday, TBD. We believe the show will be at 9 a.m., but we'll make an announcement on social media before that. But we're going to there'll be a different time for the show. And if you missed, we did a fun thing with Drew Forrester, a little like mini podcast. You can find that as well in the greatest hits. It was fun. I had fun with it.
You're saying you enjoyed
the
company of Drew Forrester?
I was very surprised. I was very, very surprised. Had a guest cameo from Drew Forrester that turned into a little podcast. All right, thanks everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Birds. Go Whip Snakes. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show getting ready for Ravens Commanders. Former Raven, now Commanders defensive lineman Carl Davis here on GCR. Of course, Ravens Commanders coming up tomorrow afternoon in the preseason finale. And this was like a genuine joy for me as I was looking at the Commanders roster this week and getting ready for this, and I said, holy crap, I can't believe I had no idea this next guy, our next guest, was a Commander. Years ago, he began his career as a Baltimore Raven, and he came on with us a bunch. He was one of my favorite people. Mr. Trenchwork himself, now Commanders defensive lineman, Carl Davis. Back with us now here on GCR. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm great, man. Can't complain. How's everything going over there?
Dude, everything is good here. Everything, I mean, you know how it is. Baltimore's a special place, right? Like you
Absolutely.
Life is good, man. Life is good. Dude, if I had told you, let's go back, right? If I told you, and I know you were a hell of a player coming out of college. You were a high draft pick. But, dude, people don't last a decade in the NFL. It just doesn't work that way. What does this mean to you to be at the decade point that you have beaten the odds of so many guys and you have been able to prove and have that staying power to stay in the league this long?
Man, honestly, it means a lot. Honestly, my family, they always talk about how resilient I am. And, for me, I just take things, a day at a time. You know what I mean? Next, the months go by, and I just always keep working and always preparing for that, whatever it is. If I have a opportunity or whatever the next opportunity is, and I'll just keep preparing and keep trying to make sure I'm ready. And I just kept going, and I'm still here. You know what I mean? And to be able to look up, after all these years, and honestly to be back in the DMV, it's really special for me.
It's cool, man. It's really cool. Like, have you been able to reconnect with anybody just being close by?
Not really. I haven't. I've been trying to stay locked in.
I get it. You got to make sure you got your
But let me say this. Because last year when I got here, I did go up to Jimmy Seafood. I did pay them a visit. I had to.
And I bet they took care of you well, right?
Oh, they took care of me.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing how they don't forget, dude.
Yeah.
Like they don't forget
Dude,
at all.
they're really family.
Yep.
They're really family, and like the just their overall service from the first time I went there. Like, I just came in there regular. I didn't tell anybody, whatever, and they just showed me so much love. And so I love that place. And whenever I get a chance, if I get an off day, I try to sneak away and get up there.
It's wild. You said my wife, we don't live anywhere nearby. We live in like northern Baltimore County. We are nowhere close. But my wife, like every couple of weeks, is just like, we're going, because she knows the moment we show up, like John's gonna see her and he's gonna take care. She's gonna get her dessert. I'm like, God, it's the way it's gonna go, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way that it works, man. But that's awesome.
Absolutely,
that's really cool. Carl, what do you think the difference is? Why do you think it is that you've been able to have this staying power to remain in the league this long?
I would have to be honest with you. Some of it is a little bit of luck.
Okay.
And some of it is my work ethic, and also I think how I present myself too. I definitely take pride in being a pro, and taking care of my work, and people know what they get when I walk in, and I just try to continue to be the same person every day, and work my ass off, honestly. You know what I mean? So I don't take it for granted. It's a blessing and an opportunity anytime at any age, but especially as a 30-plus-year-old man to keep continuing playing the child's game. It's really a blessing and have fun. I was able to play last year in the NFC Championship, and that was just an amazing opportunity for me, and I had so much fun being out there. And especially, just the trajectory of this team right now, and just being able to, play for Dan Quinn again, because I had him in Dallas, and, just the way this whole organization is just amazing, honestly. And just to be here right now, going on year 11 this season is really amazing, honestly.
I've talked about this with a few guys. Kyle Van Noy would be one that I've talked about this with, right? Where I think people, I know you guys were together in New England, right?
Yeah, exactly.
100%. So I feel like there's this inclination that people have that when you get to a certain point in your career, your drive might not be the same as it was when you were younger. But a lot of guys that I talk to are like, it's the exact opposite of that. Like you get to this place in your career, and whether it's maybe a guy like you who hasn't been able to win a Super Bowl yet and you're still striving, or just the desire to stay, to keep going, do you feel like the drive is maybe even greater than it was when you came into the league?
The drive is definitely greater. I'm just competitive, man. I honestly, so number one, I love football.
Yeah.
It's been good to me. It's taken me all over the country, in some cases overseas, to play football. You know what I mean? It's just been a blessing. And being able to be in a locker room and be able to hang out with these guys. I hear so many guys that retired, like, man, I miss the locker room. They don't say they necessarily miss practice, but they like that locker room feeling, just being around, their brothers and just being able to be free. You know what I mean? There's no place like a locker room. You know what I mean? And guys, the topics that come up, and just being able to share like a common bond with your brothers in there for that time. And so for me, it's just being able to obviously still be able to compete. And when you get upper age, they always say, oh, he's getting older, and they always try to throw that tag.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, as long as the guy is able to play and he shows he can play, football is football. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's all it is for me, and just kind of continue to try to prove myself. I have something to prove every day. You know what I mean? I'm still trying to prove stuff right now, and I think I'm just that type of person. Even when football is done, I'm still just trying to prove myself in whatever business or whatever I get into.
That's awesome, man. Carl Davis with us here on GCR. Carl, you were around some special people in Baltimore when you started your career, right? I know most,
1,000%.
Very few of them are still playing in Baltimore. Like, it is crazy how quickly things change. But what did those years at the start of your career? What did being around? Were there lessons that you learned from any of those guys that maybe you've carried with you that you feel like are a part of why you've been able to do this for so long?
One of the fun things, one of the fun and most amazing people that I've been around in that Ravens organization, it was Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
And his IQ of the game. And then also, he's just a funny dude. I mean, that dude in the locker room, he's hilarious. You know what I mean? A hell of a personality, but a hell of a player, too. And just was a good example for guys. And, when we watch film and he'd come in and he's like, you guys don't see this? You know what I mean? And just being able to point stuff out and just kind of help guys with their IQ of the game. So that's one of the guys, for me, that was like a great teammate for me.
That's huge, man. That's huge. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. You now you show up in Washington last year. You bring it up, right? Like this is a special time there. This is there's something happening. There's a quarterback who is that kid is special. And
100%.
You know, we know a thing or two about special quarterbacks here in Baltimore. What did you feel immediately when you got there? When you showed up, did you know like there's something really special happening with this group?
Yeah. So for one, I knew what type of person that Dan Quinn was.
Yeah.
And I had him in Dallas, and so when I knew he was here and he gave me an opportunity to come here, like I knew it was going to be something because I know how much detail he puts in and how much he builds like a brotherhood. And that's what this whole team. When you walk in from day one here, when I walked in here and I knew some guys, I didn't know everybody. But everybody is really a brotherhood over here. And it's not just something that you say. You hear that in the locker room sometimes, but over here, it's like, no, we really take care of each other. And it's a true brotherhood, you know, from rookie to 15 years. It doesn't matter. Everybody talks to everybody, and we treat each other like that.
Man, tell me about Jaden, though. Like, because we had to actually – he came on the show with us not that long ago. And I couldn't have liked him anymore. This actually kills me, Carl, because deep within my soul, when we were kids here, we hated Washington. Like we hated everything about it. And like, you know, the last ownership wasn't so great, so it was easy for everybody to hate him. Now, like in a weird way, I feel like your club has become like America's darlings because there is such a like I get such Lamar vibes from Jaden Daniels, just like such a good dude, so incredibly talented. What has been how much have you been impressed by him? What impresses you most about that young man?
I mean, his composure. His composure is amazing, especially last year as a rookie and the situations, you know, he doesn't get rattled. Like, you know what I mean? I seen him take a big hit on the sideline in Tampa, and he just got up, you know what I mean, and kept on rolling. You know what I mean? It's some guys that get in those situations, and, you know, and honestly, it's in a lot of quarterbacks' reports. You know, hey, if you hit this guy, he's going to throw some interceptions. And it's not the case with this guy. He's locked in. He's very mentally strong. You know, his IQ of the game is high. You can just tell, you know, about the throws he makes in practice and the decisions that he makes. And I just think he's a very sound quarterback. But his work ethic is high too. You know, he's definitely like really one of the first ones in the building. When I come in, I see him, and you know, he's always here working. And honestly, he's special, man. I'm glad to be here during this time.
Man, that's cool. That is cool. Look, I can root for you guys to be happy like every day but one. Like I can root for all of that all season long. Carl, remind people.
Let me get that Saturday, huh?
Let's make it happen, right? So let's get to this because I wish I could find where it was. I know Glenn Eunice and I bought Trenchwork T-shirts years ago. I know we had them. Remind everybody what trench work is, the mentality that it's been for you, and I feel like it sort of speaks to what it was that you were talking about why you've been able to withstand for so long.
Yeah, man. So trench work is just a mentality of just being resilient. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage man or a CEO of a company. You know what I mean? Everybody has to put in their work. Everybody has to get on the line. No matter how good you did last time, no matter how bad you did last time, you always got to line up for the next play. And that's the line. That's honestly offensive, defensive line play. It's in the trenches. You know what I mean? You might get beat one play. You might beat the guy the next play, but the next play is always coming. And that's what trench work is all about. And, I had some hoodies back then. I kind of discontinued it a little bit, but if people hit me up and ask for one, I definitely I send some out from here and there. But yeah, that's basically what trench work is about.
Man, I love everything. I feel like you can't come from the University of Iowa without embracing the suck a little bit. Like I feel like
hey, listen, Iowa was what kind of created that mentality for me because it was such a grind. Like I remember it was one workout we did 100 squats of half our maxes. And I'm talking about guys like grown men in there, 300 pounds, you know what I mean, for 100 reps, just in there for an hour and a half, just squatting away. And it was a grind, man, honestly. And then, guys could barely walk upstairs, his knees just wobbling, you know what I mean? But it was a mentality like.
How are you going to win a 6-3 football game if you can't do that?
So think about you trying to walk up some stairs to go to the dorms after doing 100 squats.
Oh God, man!
It just kind of it was rough, but it made us tougher, and I feel like that was an edge for us to help us compete. Honestly, we just kind of had that dog mentality, and so that's where kind of the trench work mindset was born for me.
I love that, man. I love that so much. Trenchwork94,
Yeah,
that's how you follow him on both
Yep.
Twitter and Instagram, correct?
Yes, sir.
And everybody's
Absolutely.
good, family good, everything?
Everybody's good, man. You know, a lot has changed since I've been in Baltimore. I got a wife and 2 kids now, so
awesome, man.
You know, 2 little beautiful girls. So life is good, man. I can't complain.
Dude, I'm so happy for you. Like legitimately.
Man, I appreciate you, man.
Dude,
I
you
can
have-
hear it in your voice, and I
Cut.
appreciate
This
that.
is so genuine, man. I apologize. I didn't realize that you had signed last year. This, it made my day, to find out
My man.
that you were still kicking ass because you're such a good dude, man, and I love everything about the way that you play the game. And I'm really happy for you, brother. It's awesome that you're thriving. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday and all season long. Carl Davis, thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I hope I see you at Jimmy Seafood sometime.